Imagine a signal from the depths of space, so strange, so precise, that it challenges everything we thought we knew about the universe. Welcome. Today is March 2nd, 2026, and just 48 hours ago, at exactly 9:14 UTC, the Deep Space Network in Canberra, Australia, picked up a data signature that doesn't fit any known laws of celestial mechanics. This isn't about a comet breaking up under solar pressure, or tidal disintegration, or any of the phenomena we've cataloged for decades. No, what happened involves a synchronized, powered divergence of a celestial body, something so precise it reads more like a message than a natural event. Here's the scene. For months, astronomers tracked a singular object cataloged as 3-2 Atlas. It moved through space like any other comet, silent and predictable. But on February 27th, roughly 450 million kilometers from Earth, as it crossed the solar system's frost line, everything changed. The object didn't merely fragment, it executed a calculated maneuver. NASA's tracking confirms that 3-2 Atlas split into two almost perfectly equal halves. Scientists are calling them Atlas Alpha and Atlas Beta. In normal celestial events, fragments drift along chaotic paths, scattering unpredictably as momentum carries them. This was not chaos. Atlas Alpha veered sharply left, changing its inclination by 14 degrees. Atlas Beta banked right by the same measure, accelerating in the opposite direction. These weren't random drifts, they were precise adjustments aimed directly at intersecting Earth's orbit at two separate points. Pause for a moment and let that sink in. Rocks and ice in space don't plan. They don't coordinate trajectories or calculate arrival vectors. Yet that's exactly what happened. The James Webb Space Telescope turned its NIRCam instrument to the scene only 19 minutes after the split, expecting a cloud of debris typical of a cometary breakup. What it saw instead was chilling: two distinct, solid objects, perfectly separated, with no dust cloud, no fragments, nothing. The probability of a comet naturally splitting into two equal halves and immediately accelerating on divergent Earth-crossing paths? Less than 1 in 8.4 billion. That's rarer than winning the Powerball 3 times in a row. And it gets stranger. The scientific community is in a quiet panic. Public briefings describe anomalous fragmentation and non-gravitational effects, but the raw data tells a story of controlled energy. Atlas Alpha accelerated by 4.2 kilometers per second in a vacuum without visible outgassing. That's not physics, it's propulsion. For the first time in recorded history, we're observing a visitor from deep space executing what can only be described as a pincer movement. The real question isn't how it happened, it's why, and more importantly, where are these two halves headed? The details make it impossible to ignore. In a standard cometary breakup, such as Atlas in 2020 or Ison in 2013, the process is violent, messy, chaotic. Ice and rock shatter, releasing megatons of dust and gas, creating a coma that brightens the telescope's sensors. This event was the opposite: clean, surgical. On February 27th at 14 UTC, the James Webb Space Telescope focused on 3-2 Atlas, expecting the usual cloud of debris. The instruments returned two distinct points of light, with a vacuum measured at less than 0.000004 particles per cubic meter between them. Two objects, each 1.2 kilometers in diameter, separating cleanly, altering their trajectories by 14 degrees, yet leaving no debris. No explanation fits. And it wasn't just one telescope that saw this. The ALMA Observatory in Chile, with 66 high-precision antennas monitoring carbon monoxide outgassing, detected nothing unusual. Normally, A comet split triggers a gas spike of 300 to 500%. This time, no increase at all. Just a perfect division between the two new objects. Then, the Chandra X-ray Observatory recorded something even more alarming, a brief pulse of hard X-rays lasting 0.4 seconds, right at the moment of separation. 3 independent observations, 3 independent methods, all pointing to one conclusion: this was not a natural breakup. This was deployment. Physicists are struggling to interpret the mass distribution. In every known cometary fracture, you get an uneven split, a parent and a smaller fragment. But Gaia spacecraft data reveals alpha and beta are identical in mass to within 0.02%, almost like cellular mitosis, one splitting into two perfect twins. Across 4 million years of simulations and observations, nothing like this has been seen. Equal mass, immediate acceleration, and symmetrical divergence. 6 hours after the split, at 20 UTC, the Deep Space Network began tracking their trajectories. Natural fragments drift randomly, tumbling as gravity takes over. Atlas Alpha, however, stabilized its rotation in under an hour, aligning its long axis perpendicular to the Sun, essentially using solar radiation like a sail. Atlas Beta, in contrast, minimized its cross-section, moving quietly, almost invisibly. One object is deliberately visible, the other is deliberately hidden. Their paths and orientations are no accident. One is meant to draw attention, the other to avoid it. The separation isn't just physical, it's strategic. The distance between alpha and beta is widening at 12,000 kilometers per hour. By the time they reach Earth's orbit, they will flank our planet from opposite hemispheres. And then came the most unnerving discovery: radio data. The Green Bank telescope in West Virginia detected a narrowband signal between the two objects, something entirely unpredicted. Comets make noise, static, chaotic, random, but this was a coherent time signal at 1.42 gigahertz, the frequency of neutral hydrogen, often called the water hole, for potential extraterrestrial communication. It wasn't aimed at Earth, it was aimed at each other. The signal pulses matched the rotation of Atlas Alpha every 4.2 seconds. A handshake, a synchronization ping, and as soon as the signal ceased, the objects executed maneuvers that defy classical celestial mechanics. Atlas Beta accelerated away from the Sun, moving against gravity itself, like a ball dropped from the Empire State Building that suddenly hovers, then shoots sideways. Non-gravitational acceleration of a magnitude far beyond anything seen before. No gas, no debris, no natural mechanism, only energy applied with surgical precision. From the data, theorists suggest something nearly unimaginable. Surfaces smoother than the finest telescope mirrors, reflecting solar radiation with near-perfect efficiency. One object uses this as a sail, the other hides. Their trajectories form a classic pincer movement, dividing attention and orchestrating arrival times with precision measured in seconds. This is coordination, intelligence, and intent, not chance. The precision of Atlas Alpha and Beta is staggering. Simulations show that despite traveling billions of kilometers through the outer solar system, splitting into two, and independently accelerating, they are locked on a schedule that will bring them to Earth's orbit within 4 seconds of each other. That level of synchronization is inconceivable in a natural event. Gravity, solar radiation, and the slightest irregularity in mass or spin would have created days, even weeks of separation. Yet alpha and beta remain perfectly coordinated. Harvard's Avi Loeb, a leading authority on interstellar objects, has publicly stated the statistical probability of this being a natural occurrence is vanishingly small. When he uses the word artificial, the scientific community listens. NASA, recognizing the anomaly's significance, redirected the Deep Space Network to focus exclusively on these two objects, putting all other missions temporarily on hold. Their sudden shift in priority speaks volumes. Behind closed doors, classified briefings at the White House are underway, prompted by raw data that left even veteran astrophysicists stunned, and the surprises keep coming. On March 1st, at 5:42 UTC, the SETI Institute's Allen Telescope Array detected something new, a faint, previously hidden signal buried under the 1.42 GHz synchronization ping. Unlike the handshake between the two fragments, this signal was aimed directly at Earth. Even more chilling, the signal wasn't continuous. Its timing corresponded perfectly to terrestrial radar activity. Every time systems like Florida's AN, FPS 85 or Russia's Globus MN radar pinged the objects for range readings, Atlas, Alpha, and Beta responded in under 0.08 seconds. If this were a natural comet, reflecting radar waves with such coherence and accuracy would be physically impossible. But these fragments are doing exactly that. They are reading our technological capabilities and responding almost instantly. Every ping, every observation is logged and returned with astonishing precision, implying onboard processing power rivaling the most advanced supercomputers on Earth. NASA's response was immediate and unprecedented. Within hours, the Deep Space Network went dark, cutting off the decades-old public live stream. The official explanation was routine maintenance, but in 50 years of tracking space objects, this has happened only a handful of times. The abrupt silence underscores the extraordinary nature of what we are witnessing. These objects are not just anomalies, they are active participants capable of observation, calculation, and interaction. And yet, the question that haunts astronomers most is deceptively simple. Why did the signal stop? If it was a diagnostic, it may indicate the test is complete. If it was a handshake, it could mean synchronization is finalized. But if it was a target lock, then the lock is engaged. There is no middle ground. One of these scenarios defines our current reality, and time is moving inexorably forward. Every hour, the fragments close the gap, traveling 12,000 kilometers closer to Earth. By the time they cross Mars' orbit in 3 weeks, the next critical milestone will be upon us. Whatever maneuver or revelation they have planned will begin. The telescopes are pointed, the detectors live, and the universe holds its breath. The more scientists analyze the data, the more the scale of the event becomes apparent. Atlas, Alpha, and Beta aren't just coordinated, they're deliberate. Alpha, the bright, broad fragment, is designed to capture attention, maximizing its visibility and impact. Beta, the dark and compact fragment, takes a stealth approach, minimizing its profile and seemingly avoiding detection. Together, they create a pincer strategy that mirrors advanced military maneuvers. One object distracts, while the other slips through undetected. It's a pattern of intent, not randomness. And it's not just trajectory and rotation. Every observation suggests active intelligence, whether through synchronized radio signals or non-gravitational acceleration. Atlas Beta, for instance, defies Kepler's laws by accelerating against the sun's pull. Natural objects follow ballistic trajectories. They speed up approaching the sun, slow down moving away. But Beta accelerates independently in a manner consistent with controlled propulsion, yet without visible exhaust, outgassing, or any known energy source. Its surface may be a mirror of near-perfect smoothness, reflecting sunlight with unprecedented efficiency, turning solar radiation into propulsion. Alpha uses the same physics in reverse. Aligning perpendicularly, to maximize drag and energy gain. The synchronization is meticulous. Orbital simulations predict both objects will reach closest approach on July 14, 2026, separated by roughly 1.2 million kilometers, effectively flanking the planet, and the precision of their arrival is almost unimaginable. The margin of error for each object's timing is less than 4 seconds. Traveling billions of kilometers, splitting, accelerating, and arriving so precisely, this is coordination on a scale that suggests constant feedback and adaptive intelligence. Even terrestrial radar tests reveal the same pattern. Each time Earth's instruments attempt to measure range, both objects respond in real time, adapting to the signal within 0.08 seconds. This isn't a reflection or passive response. This is active scanning. It's a diagnostic of our technological capabilities. It's as though the fragments are cataloging our responses, measuring the sophistication of the civilization they are approaching. The implications are staggering. We are being observed with an intelligence capable of computation at speeds far beyond anything humans have achieved. And yet, despite the overwhelming data, one critical piece remains unknown: the objective. These fragments are not chaotic, they are purpose-driven. Every maneuver, every rotation, every signal implies preparation and foresight. They're clean, debris-free split, identical mass, mirrored trajectories, and coordinated timing all suggest a level of engineering that defies natural laws. What is this object, and why is it here? The countdown continues. As telescopes remain fixed and instruments silently record, the next phase of this unprecedented event approaches. In just a matter of weeks, Alpha and Beta will cross Mars' orbit, bringing humanity closer to understanding the full scope of what 3-2 Atlas really is. As the days tick by, the urgency of the situation grows. Every observation we make reveals something more astonishing. Atlas Alpha and Beta are not merely following paths, they are actively optimizing them. Alpha continues to catch the solar wind, maximizing acceleration, while Beta minimizes exposure, gliding through space with uncanny precision. They are using every physical tool at their disposal: rotation, surface reflectivity, and alignment with the Sunday. Every detail of their motion is calculated, every maneuver synchronized. This is not random motion, this is strategy writ large across the void of space. The coordination extends to distance and timing. The objects are widening the gap between them at roughly 12,000 kilometers per hour. By the time they reach Earth's vicinity, they will bracket the planet, Alpha approaching from the northern hemisphere, Beta from the south. The precision is staggering, but the most alarming aspect is the synchronization of their arrival, 4 seconds apart. Across billions of kilometers, through a split and a power divergence, they will reach their respective positions almost simultaneously. Nature does not achieve this. Only an intelligence capable of constant calculation and instantaneous adjustment could do so. And it doesn't stop at movement. Radio data from Green Bank reveals communication not with us, but between them. The narrowband pulses at 1.42 GHz act as a handshake, a synchronized ping, timing maneuvers with surgical accuracy. The moment the handshake ceases, Atlas Beta accelerates against the sun's pull, performing a maneuver impossible under classical physics without an energy source. No gas, no visible propulsion, nothing that our current understanding could explain. Some theoretical models suggest surfaces polished to nanometer precision, reflecting nearly 100% of solar radiation, effectively turning Beta into a solar engine. Alpha's perpendicular orientation amplifies the solar push, a mirror strategy that maximizes momentum gain. The implications are mind-bending. Every orbital simulation and every radar interaction points to one conclusion: these objects are intelligent. They are aware of Earth, they understand our detection methods, and they are capable of responding in real time. The 0.08-second response to terrestrial radar pings implies processing speeds rivaling the most advanced supercomputers on Earth, yet it's happening in a compact celestial body billions of kilometers away. This is not just observation, it is analysis, interaction, and adaptation. As we approach the next critical milestone, their crossing of Mars' orbit in 3 weeks, the stakes are clearer than ever. Whatever plan or function these fragments possess will likely begin to manifest then. Scientists are preparing models, simulations, and contingency plans, but uncertainty dominates. We are witnessing a phenomenon unlike anything humanity has ever tracked: a dual, intelligent, interstellar object executing maneuvers with precision, communication, and synchronization that defy natural laws. The clock is counting down, and the world must watch. Now, the final piece of the puzzle: the implications of the data from March 1st, 5:42 UTC. The Allen Telescope Array detected a faint signal directed squarely at Earth, separate from the inter-fragment handshake. This was no casual emission. It was a response to our technology. Each radar ping from systems around the globe, Florida's AN, FPS 8.5, Russia's Globus MN, and others, was answered in under 0.08 seconds. The fragments aren't just moving with purpose, they are observing, analyzing, and measuring our capabilities. They are testing our detection systems, our technological sophistication, and perhaps our readiness. NASA's unprecedented decision to go dark emphasizes the gravity of the situation. Cutting off the decades-long public stream suggests a level of concern that goes far beyond scientific curiosity. This is an event being treated with caution at the highest levels, a recognition that the objects are not simply celestial phenomena, but active participants in a complex interstellar interaction. And yet, despite the immense quantities of data, the question that remains is chillingly simple. Why did the signal stop? Did it signify the completion of a test? Was it the end of a handshake? Or was it the engagement of a target lock? Each scenario carries profound implications. One of these is our reality, and the clock is counting relentlessly toward July 14th, 2026. Every hour, Alpha and Beta close the distance by 12,000 kilometers. In exactly 3 weeks, they will cross Mars' orbit, the next critical stage in their trajectory, and whatever will happen next may define the very nature of our contact with this interstellar intelligence. We know with certainty that 3.2 Atlas is extraordinary. 2 objects of identical mass, a clean, debris, free split, powered maneuvers altering inclination by 14 degrees, synchronized arrival within 4 seconds, and an instantaneous response to Earth-based radar. These are not hypothetical observations. They are verified, documented, and confirmed by the most advanced instruments humanity has ever built. The question of intent remains unanswered, but the evidence for purpose is undeniable. As the telescopes remain trained, detectors active, and the instruments silently recording, humanity stands at the edge of an unprecedented encounter. Whatever 3.2 Atlas truly is, it has been planning, calculating, and moving with deliberate intelligence for billions of kilometers. The countdown has begun. The instruments are ready, and in less than 6 months, the fragments will reveal the next phase of their mysterious journey. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and pay attention to every update. This is not just a story of celestial mechanics, it is a story of intelligence, intent, and a window into the unknown. The universe has just delivered a challenge, and humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos is about to be tested like never before. Don't look away, because whatever comes next, it will be impossible to ignore. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and make sure you're following every step of this unfolding event.